Welcome to this week's episode of No Cover Music Magazine here at 707 13th Street, Phoenix City, Alabama, the American Guitar Boutique. Today we have the pleasure of having Mr. Roger Vines, winner of the third week of the Songwriters Showdown going on in Columbus, Georgia. Roger, thanks for coming on the show. I've heard a lot of great things about your songwriting. Nona Christie sent you over with great compliments, and we're looking forward to hearing you play.
Oh, she had a lot of great things to say about you guys, too.
What inspires you to get into this bag? I mean, I don't know what you do on a daily basis, but I mean, taking up songwriting, how long have you been doing it?
I started back in high school playing and writing a few songs.
So just like a year or two ago?
Yeah, you know, trying to get girls' attention, you know, back in those days. And but then I didn't really get into it more than, I just piddled around with it through that and through college and stuff. And then, but several years ago, maybe 6, 7 years ago, they started a songwriters chapter up in our area, Nashville, NSAI, which is Nashville Songwriters Association International, out of Nashville, Tennessee. And they started a chapter up our way.
Do they write songs in Nashville?
Quite a few, quite a few, absolutely. So the way that chapter works is you meet once a month, everybody brings one song to play and shares with the group. So every month I had to have a new song, so that kind of made me start working and playing more, writing more songs. And so been doing that, and we just have a ball. And I love songwriters; they're just neat people. You know?
Do you have a process that you work within? I mean, are you a guy that writes lyrics and then figures out a melody, or do you have a melody in your head and
yeah, it's all yes, it's all parts of that. Because sometimes I would just fiddle around the guitar and a little riff or something will come to me that I said, that's kind of a neat little sound, and then you start putting some words to it, whatever it feels like. And then sometimes I'll wake up in the night or in the morning, I'll have an idea for a hook or something, and I'll sit down and kind of type up some lyrics to get it started, and then I'll start playing and put it together. And nowadays, there's so many songwriters, you have to check because somebody probably already has that idea.
Yeah.
I wrote one song, I got the idea of, if you're going to do me wrong, do it right. And I said, hey, that's a great song. So I sat down one day and wrote it. And then I put it up on the computer. Sure enough, somebody had already written that, not that song, but that title.
Right.
And so you have to worry about that.
And are most of your songs just due to your experience, autobiography, viewing other people's quest in life? I mean, how does it?
It's interesting. You know, people write different ways, and a lot of people write real life stories and experiences and all. And I've always had a kind of a different mindset to things because I have to, a lot of times my songs, I tell the songs I sing, I said, if there's a woman in the song, it has no relation to my wife. I said, you know, it's a fictional song. I said, you know, if I was an author and I wrote books and I wrote a murder mystery, doesn't mean I'm a murderer.
Right.
Okay, it's just a fictional book, you know, so my songs, a lot of them are fiction. But,
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing you play. What's the first song you want to do for us?
the first one that I'm going to do is called Beneath the Bark.
Okay.
And basically that song came from, I do chainsaw carving as a hobby. And when you start off with a piece of wood, you look on the outside, it's rough and ugly, and you don't really see what's in there, you know, until you start kind of carving away and get a little deeper, and you find some real pretty wood and that kind of thing. And I figured people are kind of like that, you know, you and I, when we meet, you may have never knew anything about me or what we're up to, but as you get to chipping away and finding out more about somebody, you find out what they are inside.
Well, that's an interesting concept. I look forward to hearing it.
Yeah. On the outskirts of Gatlinburg, I walked into a store. An Indian chief and a black bear stood guard beside the door. A man was carving on a cedar stump. Oh, it smells so good. Then I asked him how he could see those things hidden in the wood. And he said, you gotta look beneath the bark and see with different eyes. You can't judge on the outside, appearances can lie. This part of us all is hidden in the heart, but if you look beneath the bark, there's something beautiful inside. We walked out on the front porch to a couple of rocking chairs. Seems like life and time stood still as we began to share. We found so much in common, the strangers became friends. And as he chipped away at the man I was, I heard those words again. You gotta look beneath the bark and see with different eyes. You can't judge on the outside, appearances can lie. The best part you will find is hidden in the heart. But if you look beneath the bark, there's something beautiful inside. Now I try to look at others the way that he saw me, like a masterpiece that's covered, just waiting to be seen. But you gotta look beneath the bark and see with different eyes. You can't judge on the outside, appearances can lie. The best part of us all is hidden in the heart. But if you look beneath the bark, there's something beautiful inside. When we look beneath the bark, there's something beautiful inside.
So, do you ever play in a group, or are you always playing solo?
For the longest time, I was played solo most of the time, and now we have played as a group. But we do it in a round where we're not playing together, but we take turns. Like he'd play one, she'd play one, I'd play one, playing a round like that. We do that with our songwriters group. But just recently, I've started with a band that we put together and started playing with everything, the drums and a keyboard player and the bass guitar and all that. And that is so much more fun because
It truly is.
it adds just so much more flavor to what you're doing.
But it also tests your patience because you got to deal with everybody.
Yeah, you got to get everybody in sync and you get everybody together and all that.
And split the money at the end of the night with them all.
Exactly. And $25 doesn't go very far.
That's right. So what else you got in your? I'm looking forward to hearing all your songs. So what do you want to do next for us?
The next song it's called Loaded Dice, and it was one of those crazy ideas. I wanted to kind of write a honky-tonk song, and so the name of the song is, the long version of the title is Loaded Dice, Loaded Guns, and Loaded Women, and so I just shortened it to Loaded Dice. But and I've recorded it and it's on my CD, but it's kind of an up-tempo song with just kind of a little tongue-in-cheek catch line.
Good.
Well, I was feeling lucky at a table in Biloxi with 2 cubes in my fist. I had a mountain of chips and a girl on my hip with a taste of whiskey on her lips. But as I started to roll, I heard an old man say, "Boy, you better think twice. For those are loaded dice, the dealer's packing the night, so let me give you some advice. Loaded dice, loaded guns, and loaded women. Boy, you better find a better way to make a living. You can win the game once or twice, or you can lose it all one night. With loaded dice, loaded guns, and loaded women." Then the old man said, "I've seen it before, back when I was 24. I was rolling sevens at table 11. I was looking for that big score. When a lady named Devin who was sipping Secret 7 said, 'You mind if I join the game?' Then she pulled out a gun, took my money and run. Here's what I'm trying to say. Loaded dice, loaded guns, and loaded women. Boy, you better find a better way to make a living. You can win the game once or twice, or you can lose it all one night. With loaded dice, loaded guns, and loaded women." Well, that was 15 years ago today, and I'm down to my last dime. But every time I roll the dice, those words come to my mind. But there's a young man playing next to me that reminds me of me. So I passed along those words to him, and I said this here for free. Loaded dice, loaded guns, and loaded women. Boy, you better find a better way to make a living. You can win the game once or twice, you can lose it all one night. The loaded dice, loaded guns, yeah, loaded dice, loaded guns, and loaded women. Oh, you better find a way to change the way you're living. You can win the game once or twice, or you could even lose your life. The loaded dice, loaded guns, and loaded women.
Speaking of your CD, we have a copy of it right here called Kudzu Country. Tell us a little bit about you as a musician, and if someone is watching the show and they're liking what you're singing, how do they get a hold of your CD?
It's real. My last name is Vines, and so I named my CD Kudzu Country. Kudzu grows all over the place. That green vine, it's one of those vines. It grows over houses and tractors and everything. And like I tell people, I said, I'm kind of like kudzu. If you don't like my music at first, be still and it'll grow on you. So that's where Kudzu Country comes from. But if you go on the internet, just Google Kudzu Country, kudzu with a K, K-U-D-Z-U, country with a K, and just Google that. And I've got stuff on CD Baby and iTunes and some YouTube's up and some things like that.
And where did you record the disc?
I got it recorded up at Retract Studios up in Ashland. Brian Carter is the studio guy and does a wonderful job. And
and is it mostly you as a solo performer, or do you use other instruments?
For this CD, the instruments are all in there. Way that works is I will go in and I'll play him my song, just me and my guitar and the lyrics and everything. And then he kind of charts it out using what they call the Nashville numbering system, where they use the numbers. And then he'll lay down a track of drums, and then he'll lay down a track with the bass. And then as we start working, we add electric guitar or mandolin or whatever it needs, and then we put it all together, and it sounds like you're in a full group.
Sure. And when did you record this one?
About 2 years ago.
Okay.
And so it's got 15 songs on it, and you can, if they're interested, they can buy them one at a time for 99 cents, or they can buy the whole CD, I think, for $9. So
okay.
It's not expensive. You can buy somebody a unique gift.
Well, we're looking forward to hearing some more, but what do you got for us next?
The next song is a song that I wrote called The American Soldier. Now, don't get it confused with Kobe Keith wrote a song called American Soldier without the "the," so mine's the American Soldier. And I wrote that for a guy that's a good friend of mine in our church named Jerry Walker, who we were doing a dedication for him, or recognizing him. And I wrote a poem, and it turned into I said, well, that'd make a pretty good song. So it turned into a song, and then we got it recorded.
Okay. Let's take a listen.
There comes a time in this life we must take a stand. When evil lifts its ugly head in some foreign land, or even worse, it comes here first to bring harm to us all. That's when we need a soldier standing on the wall. A soldier like the one I see before me, who's not afraid to answer duty's call. A patriot who loves his God and country, who runs back in the fire if another fighter falls. It's a heavy load he carries on his shoulders. So I rise to salute with pride the American soldier. There are those who do not know the heavy price we've paid. So many men and women we lost along the way. To make this nation great and a light upon the hill, I'll stand for those who stood for me, and I always will. Soldiers like the ones I see before me, who are not afraid to answer duty's call. Patriots who love their God and country, who run back in the fire if another fighter falls. It's a heavy load they carry on their shoulders. So I rise to salute with pride the American soldier. They don't do it for the glory or the medals on their chest. For the cause of freedom, they give their very best. Soldiers like the ones I see before me, who are not afraid to answer these calls. Patriots who love their God and country, who run back into fire if another fighter falls. It's a heavy load they carry on their shoulders. So I rise to salute with pride the American soldier.
So tell me a little bit about growing up with music. When did you start playing guitar?
Started in high school and got my first guitar, and I was a real big fan of John Denver back in those days. I still am.
The very first concert I ever seen in my life was John Denver.
Really?
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Well, that's cool. And matter of fact, it was kind of funny because I was a big fan of John Denver, and I started learning to play his songs and stuff. And so then when I went to college, my roommate, he didn't play or do anything, but he knew I liked John Denver music, so he started dating this girl, and then she had a roommate. His girl had a roommate, and he said, y'all would be a good match. He said, because she loves John Denver. And I said, well, okay. So we tried it out, and sure enough, she loves John Denver. She can sing beautifully, and so I would play it, and she can sing, and so we it was a perfect match. But so anyway, most music generally involves a girl somewhere along the way.
Did you have music in your house growing up?
A little bit. My dad played piano a little bit, and my mom played, but not a tremendous amount. Now, I guess my earliest influence was my brother, my oldest brother. He had a band. Now we was the youngest of 5, and we were boy, girl, boy. I was the last one.
Your parents were busy.
They were. Yeah. Matter of fact, when I came along, Mom asked my dad, "What do you want to name him?" He said, "Let's call it Quits." So I'm lucky that's not my real name. So, but anyway, my oldest brother, he had an actual band, and they played a lot of those old rock and roll songs, "Hang On Sloopy" and stuff like that. And I can still remember him going out on the front porch and just waking the neighborhood up. They'd crank it up as loud as it'd go, and having a ball. I mean, I'd just sit there and just listen, have a good time.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's listen to another one. What else you got?
Okay, this last one.
No,
that's right. There's one more I was going to do.
We're going to let you do 5 now, whether you like it or not.
That's right. That's right. I was about to get my songs out of order. But this was a song that I wrote kind of a tongue-in-cheek. I love songs with a little bit of humor to them. And matter of fact, one day I'm going to make me a bumper sticker that says nobody takes comedy seriously. Because, it's hard to go places with a comedy song, but it's fun. So this is a song about online dating. And, back in my day, you met somebody at Walmart or Kmart. Nowadays, they get online. And so the name of this is Wi-Fi Lover.
All right.
Well, my luck at meeting girls was next to none. It's hard to figure out, but I ain't dumb. I bought a computer and I got online. Told Match.com what I was trying to find. Pretty soon I got a nibble from a lady named Sybil. I told her all about me, but I guess I lied a little. I'm an engineer and I travel a lot. I lift weights every day, so yeah, I'm hot. Well, we chatted online way into the night. I could tell by her bio she was just my type. It didn't take long for me to consider I was falling in love with my Wi-Fi lover. With my Wi-Fi lover. Well, I finally gave in and had to tell her the truth. I'm a sanitation engineer in black rubber boots. Picking up garbage cans is my daily workout. Travel every day, same old route. Well, we chatted online way into the night. She said a working man is just my type. It didn't take long for me to discover I was falling in love with my Wi-Fi lover. With my Wi-Fi lover. Well, I guess there's a match for every sock in the drawer, a girl for every guy somewhere in the world. And I'm a believer in love at first sight. It scared me to death when she said, let's Skype. Well, she wore overalls and had big buck teeth. 300 pounds, a woman looking at me. But I knew then and there we were the perfect pair. Now she rides that truck with me everywhere. Like two lovebirds we met online, and I'm proud to say we're two of a kind. And I wouldn't trade her for anyone other. And every day I tell my wife I love her. I tell my wife I love her. I tell my wife I love her, yes I do. She's my wife, I love her.
So, how did you get involved in the Songwriter Showdown in Columbus?
Nona Christie is the person in charge of that, and they've been, and her group, it's called the Columbus Songwriters Guild. And I put in a plug, if you're in the area and you're a songwriter and you want to learn more about it, they have regular meetings. You can sit in and you just learn so much from the other songwriters. But I'm a coordinator for the chapter up in our area, and so we met up through some of our songwriter events and things we was going to. And so last year was the first year I came down when they hosted this Songwriter Showdown, and just met some people and made some connections, made some friends, and just started really loving it. And so I was in that one last year, and was fortunate enough to win one of the rounds last year. And so I came back this year and
won one of the rounds this year.
Exactly. And last year I won one of the rounds, but then I didn't do anything in the finals. So I found out how really good the competition was. They got some really good players.
You know, there's some really great talent, and I'll include you in that bunch. But music's a great thing. It's a real positive thing, and I like to see the camaraderie come out rather than the egos come out.
Oh,
you know?
absolutely.
And songwriters are nice for that, because most people vent or like to write songs really is a sense of expression, and so to be able to share that with other people is pretty cool.
Right.
If you had to give some advice to maybe someone's watching the show that's interested in writing songs, or maybe they do write songs but a little shy or nervous about getting out and getting in the community and stuff, what advice might you give folks for getting started in it? And
yeah, just hook up with some other songwriters. I mean, it's great to get out and play covers and things, but when you get with writers, that's where you will learn to kind of be creative and come up with your own ideas. And songwriters are always looking for what they call hooks. Basically, it's like you're driving down the road and you see a sign or something will hit your brain that just says, hey, that's kind of a neat concept. And then you start to write. But there's more to songwriting. Now, a lot of people kind of get the impression that you can write, if you can write poetry, you can write songs. And that's partially true, because you can take poetry and turn it into songs, but it's kind of difficult sometimes because there's a structure to songs. Generally songs will have a verse, chorus, you may have a pre-chorus, you may have a bridge, and you have to learn how to have a rhyme scheme where your rhyme need to fall in the song. So there's a lot to learn and really make a really good song. And you think about all those structure things, it's kind of almost like a cookbook, but it's not, because they're in there for a reason to make people, you think about a song you can sing like the old song, Bye Bye Miss American Pie. The reason everybody can remember that song is because those rhymes fall in there. The song is meaningless, but Bye Bye Miss American Pie, drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. And that just sticks in your mind. And now people heard that years ago and they can still sing that song.
I found in my experience that you write something and it's almost as much talent to be able to reduce it down to
be concise.
be able to tell the story without too much. I mean, like you said, a hook is really important.
Yeah.
Some verses that tie the hook together. But do you find it difficult to edit tunes down, or on the other hand, to come up with enough to have a full song?
Yeah. I'm generally the other way around. I usually wind up with too much, and I have to trim it down. Try to take some words out here and there, phrases or whatever,
Without losing.
the meat of the song.
That's
yeah.
right.
And particularly, I love to write story songs a lot. You know, songs that tell a story. And when you're starting to tell a story, you got to start and finish and tie it all together at the end. And so it's kind of challenging sometimes, but sometimes you get through and you look back and say, well, that turned out pretty good after all, you know.
Where, if somebody wants to hire you, do you have a web page? Do you have a Facebook page? If somebody's interested in trying to find out who you are, where you're playing, anything like that, can someone go online and find you? Someone that wants to hire this man?
Yeah.
Come play your party? No, can someone, do you have a web page where people can reach out to you at?
I've got a web page, but what I did was I'm still working on it because I did one of those free ones, like from I think it's from website or whatever, and you wind up with a web address about this long. It's not like rogervines.com, which would be easy to remember. So I'm still working on that, but
Okay.
you can find me. One way you can get involved, if you go on your computer and go to Google and Google NSAI, which is the Nashville Songwriters Association International. I'm a coordinator, and I'd encourage, if you're interested in learning about songwriting, to get involved with them, because they have, if you get on there and you get to be a member, you can send in songs to be evaluated. You can send in songs to pitch to a publisher. You can have mentoring sessions. You can connect with chapters in wherever your area is. So that's a really good way to meet people. But they can contact me.
Well, you've got one more song, and we're running out of time, and I think it's really important to listen to the songs. The one you're about to play is the one that won you this last round of songwriting.
That's right.
So first of all, I'd like to say thank you for coming out on the show, and tell me about this this last song. What's the title of it?
Okay. This song that I won this last round in the Columbus contest, it's called "We Danced in the Sand." And basically, the idea kind of came to me. You know, I saw a picture of a beach scene where people were out playing and kids played in the sand. And you know, you think about it like when you're a kid, a boy growing up, and your parents take you to the beach maybe for the first time or whatever, and they sit up in the shade, and you go down and you're playing on the beach doing things. And sometimes a little boy meets a little girl, and you get this puppy love kind of thing going on. And in real life, most of the time, that's the end of it. The little girl goes back with her parents, and they go home, and you go home. But when you're a songwriter, you can do the Paul Harvey rest of the story. You know, you can create an ending that is more appealing, you know. So I took a little liberty with that and made a storyline. So it's totally fiction, but it turned out pretty good, and did a little video on YouTube.
We'll be looking forward to hearing it. Give it up, Mr. Roger Vines. I do appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you so
And we'll
much.
look forward to hearing your name around town some more, and get you back when you win the whole coot and caboodle.
Well, I hope we cross paths more.
Thank you for checking in to No Cover Music Magazine. Check us out next week for the next episode.
I remember the day I met her, like a postcard memory. A castle in the sand, we were two kids at the beach. The sun was sinking down as the waves swirled at our feet. I knelt down on one knee and said, "Will you be my queen?" And she wore her beach towel like a wedding gown, and the sunset in her hair like a royal crown. A pop top from a can made the perfect wedding band. And then we danced in the sand. I was afraid she was gone forever. As months turned into years. But then one spring break night, I was walking on the pier, when a voice so familiar said, "Do you remember me?" and the memories came flooding back like waves upon the sea. 'Cause she wore her beach towel like a wedding gown, and the sunset in her hair like a royal crown. A pop top from a can made the perfect wedding band. Then we danced in the sand. Like king and queen, we went back again and walked the shores hand in hand. And she wore her beach towel like a wedding gown, and the moonlight in her hair like a royal crown. I put my high school ring on her hand till I could buy her a wedding band. And then we danced in the sand. Oh, we danced in the sand.